Chapter 11. And the Lord spoke unto Moses and to Aaron, saying unto them, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, These are the living things which you may eat among all the beasts that are on the earth. Whatsoever parts the hoof, and is wholly cloven-footed, and chews the cud among the beasts, that may you eat. Nevertheless, these shall you not eat of them that only chew the cud, or of them that only part of the hoof. The camel, because he chews the cud, but parts not the hoof, he is unclean to you. And the rock badger, because he chews the cud, but parts not the hoof, he is unclean unto you. And the hare, because he chews the cud, but parts not the hoof, she is unclean unto you. And the swine, because he parts the hoof, and is cloven-footed, but chews not the cud, he is unclean unto you. Of their flesh you shall not eat, and their carcasses you shall not touch, they are unclean unto you. These may you eat of all that are in the waters, whatsoever hath fins and scales, in the waters, in the seas, and in the rivers, them may you eat. And all that have not fins and scales, in the seas and in the rivers, of all that swarm in the waters, and of all the living creatures that are in the waters, they are a detestable thing unto you. And they shall be a detestable thing unto you. You shall not eat of their flesh, and their carcasses you shall have in detestation. Whatsoever hath no fins nor scales in the waters, that is a detestable thing unto you. And these you shall have in detestation among the fowls. They shall not be eaten, they are a detestable thing. The great vulture, and the bearded vulture, and the osprey, and the kite, and the falcon after its kinds, every raven after its kinds, and the ostrich, and the nighthawk, and the seamew, and the hawk after its kinds, and the little owl, and the cormorant, and the great owl, and the horned owl, and the pelican, and the carrion vulture, and the stork, and the heron after its kinds, and the hoopoe, and the bat, all winged swarming things that go upon all fours are a detestable thing unto you. Yet these may you eat of all winged swarming things that go upon all fours, which have jointed legs above their feet, wherewith to leap upon the earth. Even these of them you may eat, the locust after its kinds, and the bald locust after its kinds, and the cricket after its kinds, and the grasshopper after its kinds. But all winged swarming things, which have 4 feet, are a detestable thing unto you, and by these you shall become unclean. Whosoever touches the carcasses of them shall be unclean until even. And whosoever beareth aught of the carcasses of them shall wash his clothes, and be unclean until even. Every beast which parts the hoof, but is not cloven-footed, nor chews the cud, is unclean unto you. Every one that touches them shall be unclean. And whosoever goeth upon his paws, among all beasts that go on all fours, they are unclean unto you. Whoso touches their carcasses shall be unclean until the even. And he that bears the carcass of them shall wash his clothes, and be unclean until the even. They are unclean unto you. And these are they which are unclean unto you among the swarming things that swarm upon the earth, the weasel, and the mouse, and the great lizard after its kinds, and the gecko, and the land crocodile, and the lizard, and the sand lizard, and the chameleon. These are they which are unclean to you among all that swarm. Whosoever doth touch them, when they are dead, shall be unclean until the even. And upon whatsoever any of them, when they are dead, doth fall, it shall be unclean, whether it be any vessel of wood, or raiment, or skin, or sack, whatsoever vessel it be, wherewith any work is done. It must be put into water, and it shall be unclean until the even. Then shall it be clean. And every earthen vessel whereunto any of them fall, whatsoever is in it, shall be unclean, and it you shall break. All food therein which may be eaten, that on which water comes, shall be unclean, and all drink in every such vessel that may be drunk shall be unclean. And everything whereupon any part of their carcass falls shall be unclean, whether oven or range for pots, it shall be broken in pieces, they are unclean, and shall be unclean unto you. Nevertheless a fountain or a cistern wherein is a gathering of water shall be clean, but he who touches their carcasses shall be unclean. And if aught of their carcass fall upon any sowing seed which is to be sown, it is clean. But if water be put upon the seed, and aught of their carcass fall thereon, it is unclean unto you. And if any beast, of which you may eat, die, he that touches the carcass thereof shall be unclean until even. And he that eats of the carcass of it shall wash his clothes, and be unclean until the even. He also that beareth the carcass of it shall wash his clothes, and be unclean until even. And every swarming thing that swarmeth upon the earth is a detestable thing. It shall not be eaten. Whatsoever goeth upon the belly, and whatsoever goeth upon all fours, or whatsoever hath many feet, even all swarming things that swarm upon the earth, them you shall not eat, for they are a detestable thing. You shall not make yourselves detestable with any swarming thing that swarms. Neither shall you make yourselves unclean with them, that you should not be defiled thereby. For I am the Lord your God. Sanctify yourselves, therefore, and be you holy. For I am holy. Neither shall you defile yourselves with any manner of swarming thing that moves upon the earth. For I am the Lord that brought you up out of the land of Egypt, to be your God. Therefore be holy, for I am holy. This is the law of the beast, and of the fowl, and of every living creature that moves in the waters, of every creature that swarms upon the earth, to make a difference between the unclean and the clean, and between the living thing that may be eaten and the living thing that may not be eaten. All right, let's go back up at verse 1. In the last chapter, we remember now, the Lord had stripped down Abihu and Nadab for their offerings of strange fire unto the Lord, or the strange incense. They had done, it wasn't that they had done something that the Lord didn't ask to be done, it was that they had done something that the Lord had said not to do. He said, you shall not offer me strange fire or strange incense. It's the same thing as to offer up these things that are strange. They're not acceptable before the Lord. But anyway, with the matters back underway, Moses had got the proceedings moving again. And we had come down to the fact that Moses had got angry with Aaron, and Aaron had explained to Moses, for whatever reason there was, that he had become unclean by some act or some unfortunate occurrence, and that he wasn't able to eat of that offering. So Moses was okay with that, because that was a statute that nobody who was unclean could touch that which is clean. And here we're going to get into the some of these statutes, these ordinances of clean and unclean, and that's what it was in the beginning. We'll find out the Lord made a separation in the beginning, and it's really a very simple thing. The law was spoken, and it was like the sword went through and it parted. And it's really a very simple thing. There are those who are going to keep the law. They went one way. And there are those who are not going to keep the law, and they go the other way. And it's really a very simple thing. When, just as for instance, when the Lord said, you shall not murder, it was a very simple thing. Those that murder go one way, and those that don't murder go another. But it doesn't matter, my friend. We'll find out whichever way you go, there are extremities to it, being extremely one way or extremely another way. And we can see these things in society. But back to the chapter here. And we're going to make a distinction between these things that God separates and how God does it between the clean and the unclean. We're going to pick it up here in verse 1. And the Lord spoke unto Moses and to Aaron, saying unto them. So the Lord, once again, Hashem, he is the presence of the powers of creation himself. One who speaks to everybody within. He's going to speak to Moses. That's the one that was drawn out, the one who was saved by the Lord. And to Aaron, he is the light bringer. And He says unto them now, 2, speak unto the children of Israel, saying, these are the living things which you may eat among all the beasts that are on the earth. So now unto the children of Israel, and I've explained this several times, that's all those that come forth from Israel, all those that contend with the mighty one, or the children of them. These, we'll find out, they're still learning their lesson. They're facing every day's adversities in life, just like the Lord said would happen. And these are the living things now which you may eat among all the beasts that are on the earth. So as far as eating animals or anything else, we'll find out this is going to be the birds, the animals, and insects as well as the fish. These are going to be kind of like some health laws, or a separation in the flesh or in the bodies of these animals. 3, whatsoever parts the hoof and is wholly cloven-footed, and chews the cud among the beasts, that may you eat. So whatever has a parted hoof, this parted hoof, the hoof is the claw, or that part that's on the ground. It is the patarsa, and it's the cloven or split in it. It's divided, as we'll find out. This and the cloven foot shows that its paths, even that split or that divided, it's going to be what's called a cloven-footed. It means it's been split, and that word is shasa. There's a parting in the foot. Also, the one that chews the cud, and to chew the cud is, as we'll see, cows do this. They sit around and chew the cud. This cud is something they keep rolling over and over in their mouth, and it's kind of like scrapes down the throat, or scraping down the inside of the mouth, or to bring it up over and over and over. That word is gerah. 4, nevertheless, these shall you not eat of them that only chew the cud, or of them that only part the hoof, the camel, because he chews the cud, but parts not the hoof. He is unclean unto you. So we're going to get some examples now of those that only chew the cud, but they don't part the hoof, like the camel. The camel, the word is gamal. That is a camel, a gamal. In the sense of he's a laborer, he's a burden bearer. We'll find out. Often those that bear the burden or carry the burdens, they think things over as they go. 5, but they are unclean. You can't eat the gamal. He chews the cud. He thinks things over, but he doesn't part the hoof. He's not going to change the path he's on. 5, and the rock badger, because he chews the cud, but parts not the hoof. He's unclean to you. The rock badger, I believe King James Version says the coney. The word is shapan. It's like a rabbit that lives in the rocky areas. The old jackrabbit, you might say. It's known for its ability to hide. Because he chews the cud, he thinks things over, but he doesn't part the hoof either. You can't eat him. 6, and the hare, because she chews the cud, but parts not the hoof. She's unclean unto you. The old hare, or just the old rabbit, the Ananibeth, because it's just another form of the rabbit. They all chew the cud, but she doesn't part the hoof either. 7, and the swine, because he parts the hoof and is cloven-footed, but chews not the cud, he is unclean unto you. And the old swine, or pig, as we'll find out, kazir. Kazir is because those that are kept as were in those days and penned up, meaning they lived in an enclosure all the time, and they would part the hoof, but we'll find out they just never really thought it over. 8, of their flesh you shall not eat, and their carcasses you shall not touch. They are unclean to you. So of these animals, the Lord says you can't eat them. The Lord uses them to make example, to show that there's a clean, there's an unclean, and the Lord makes separation in the flesh, through the ordinances, through the statutes, through the law. It's a very simple thing, and the law and the statutes is what separates. 9. These may you eat of all that are in the waters, whatsoever has fins and scales in the waters, in the seas, and in the rivers, them may you eat. So anything that has fins and scales, you're going to be able to eat. These fins are just simply they're going to be used to go by or swim. And these things that have scales, these scales are like little plates, like an armament of little plates over them. It doesn't matter if you catch them in the seas, the rivers, or in the waters, period. That's where we find these fish, these things that live in the water. So it's going to rule out a lot of fish. I know there's some people that's not happy about this, but we'll find out sometimes things are allowed in society that are not allowed by the Lord. 11. And they shall be a detestable thing unto you. You shall not eat of their flesh, and their carcasses you shall have in detestation. So they're going to be detestable. And the detestable is going to be something that's an abomination, is what the King James puts it. It's filthy. It's disgusting, in a sense. It's an odious thing, as we'll find out. It was often used, these things were often used as idols, and were an abomination unto you. You're not going to eat them. They're filthy. The Lord gives them that understanding of being filthy, so that you will hold them in a detestation, or you will say that they are filthy. And then when they are filthy unto you, if you touch one, you will have to wash. 12. Whatsoever hath no fins nor scales in the waters, that is detestable thing unto you. So anything in the waters that is does not have both fins and scales is detestable. If you become polluted by it, you will have to wash. 13. And these you shall have in detestation among the fowls. They shall not be eaten. They are a detestable thing. The great vulture, the bearded vulture, and the osprey. So here's going to get into the fowls of the air, the birds. They shall not be eaten. These ones that shall not be eaten. One is going to be the vulture. I believe King James Version says the eagle. That word is nesher. Comes from a root word that means to lacerate, because probably of its sharp talons. These are any bird, large bird of prey would really kind of fit this bill right here. The bearded vulture, I believe King James Version says the ossifrage. It's because the word is peres. It means a claw. It's also probably some form of a bird of prey that has these sharp claws. Usually known for attacking or something like that. And the osprey. The osprey is osnia. It's a feminine word for oats, which is, and we're probably talking about the gull or something like that, the seagull. It's known for its strength, its great strength to fly long distances. 14. And the kite and the falcon after its kinds. And the kite, of course, I believe King James Version says the vulture here. The word is da'ah, and it's known for its rapid flight, its ability to fly very rapidly. Probably some form of hunting sea falcon or sea bird. The falcon or the King James Version says the kite, is known as is the screamer. The word is ayah. It's a screamer, and it's the hawk, or any kind of hawk, you might say. 15. Every raven after its kind. And the raven is going to include the crow, the blackbird, any kind of that family. Of course, the raven is the orab, and known for its dusky hue, known for its darkness. 16. And the ostrich, and the nighthawk, and the sea mew, and the hawk after its kind. The ostrich, I believe King James Version says the owl. It's a feminine, bat. It means its daughter. It's used in a wide sense of terms. Bat is a feminine word for Ben, and it's the daughter. Figuratively, it's the apple of the eye. The nighthawk, that word is tokmas. It's known for its violence, and it's probably going to be those birds of prey that hunt at night, that's known to attack even in the night. The sea mew, or the cuckoo, as it's known in the King James Version, or the shakaf, it's probably going to be some form of gull, as in a thin. It's as thin. It's known for its thinness, as it's come from a unused meaning to peel. Translated by the Strongs as a cuckoo. The hawk, and that's the hawk after its kinds, as we'll find out. All kinds of hawks, that's going to be birds of prey as well. That word is nuts. Known for its brilliancy, and a flower. We could look at this as these may be birds that are beautifully colored, and known for their great speed. 17. And the little owl, and the cormorant, and the great owl. So the little owl, or the kos, is and it's got that as a potion, or figuratively as this kind of bird of a potion, or this bird that is like a container, or has something in it like a cavity of its eye. And we're going to figure, because of the way the owl has these indentations around the eye, as the ears were kind of like that. That's why we get this, that's just an owl. An owl known also for its great wisdom in mythology. The cormorant, that is the shalach, and it's a bird of prey. Yeah, probably a pelican or something like that. It's known, whatever it is known for casting itself into the seas or into the waters. The great owl, once again, is the yashuf. It's an unclean aquatic bird, and whatever kind of bird that means, it's known for hanging around the sea, probably scavenging along the beaches. 18. And the horned owl, and the pelican, and the carrion vulture. The horned owl, or the King James Version says swan. It's a tanshemet, and it's known for its hard breathing properly. It's the name of two unclean creatures. One is a lizard, and the other is going to be a bird. Both of them probably known for an ability to change their colors, and this could be viewed in a very thing, one thing that's known for the fluffing of its feathers in order to change its color or to change its appearance. The pelican, that word is ka'at, and it means the pelican. It's known for its vomit, known for its regurgitation. And the carrion vulture, or the gyr eagle, as it's referred to in the King James version, the racham. It's going to be it's a kind of vulture, and it's known for tender, being taking care of its young, or in sense right there. 19, and the stork and the heron after its kinds, and the hoopoe and the bat. The stork is the cassida, and it's a kind of bird known for its maternal ability, probably the stork. The heron is it's probably a parrot is more like what it is. It's known for its fluffing of the feathers or its multicoloredness. The word is anafa. The hoopoe, I believe the King James Version calls it a lapwig. It's a dukipa, and it's probably some kind of bird that dwells on the ground. Like a grouse, or a bird that's known to stay on the ground a lot. And here we got the bat. The bat is the atalaf, and it is just a bat. Of course, the bat is known as being a flying mammal for having live young. 20, all winged swarming things that go upon all fours are detestable thing unto you. And any things that as well that go upon all fours, of course, the Lord separated them out, and they are detestable thing unto you. 21, yet these may you eat of all winged swarming things that go upon all fours, which have jointed legs above their feet, wherewith to leap upon the earth. And we'll see here these winged swarming things are the insects, and not necessarily covered with feathers, but are covered with wings or have wing-like coverings. And these are going to be the ones that have joints above their feet and their legs so that they can jump. You may eat of these things. 22. Even these of them, of course, even these of them you may eat, the locust after its kinds, and the bald locust after its kinds, and the cricket after its kinds, and the grasshopper after its kinds. Even of all these may you eat, though, these things that crawl around on the ground, these things that go, the locust. Of course, the locust is just that. It's known for its rapid ability to increase. The word is arba. And then there we got the bald locust. That is solam. It's in the sense of this crushing, or its ability to destroy. Then we got the cricket after its kinds, and the cricket is King James Version says the beetle, and this is an insect that jumps around, any insect that leaps around, that has joints above the legs. And the word is kargol. It means a leaping bug, one that has the ability to jump. And then we have the grasshopper. The grasshopper is a chacham, and it's probably a relative of the cricket family, one might say. Relative of the locust, cricket family. They have joints above their legs. All of these insects do. But all wings, 23, but all winged swarming things which have 4 feet
are a detestable thing unto you. But anything else that's not, we can say, related to the locust, you can't eat. That about covers everything except for the locust-related insects. And as far as the birds, you can eat about any bird except those that are listed. 24. By these you shall become unclean. Whosoever touches the carcasses of them shall be unclean until evening. So they're going to be a detestable thing. It means if you touch them, you're going to be unclean until the evening when the sun goes down. It's a symbology more than anything else, but the fact that you're going to have to wash yourself and you shall be unclean. We're going to wait and see if anything happens to you. You may have been bitten by something. 25. And whosoever bears aught of the carcass of them shall wash his clothes. And whosoever bears aught of the carcass of them shall wash his clothes and be unclean until the evening. Anybody that touches them is going to be unclean, even if it's dead. You'll have to wash your clothes and you'll be unclean. You got to wash, make yourself clean. 26. Every beast which parts the hoof, but is not cloven-footed, nor chews the cud, is unclean unto you. Every one that touches them shall be unclean. So every beast, all these animals we talked about that parts the hoof, but is not cloven-footed, nor chews the cud, these things are unclean. You can't touch them. You can't eat them. You can't touch them. And if you do, you're going to be unclean. You got to make yourself clean. You'll have to wash. 27. And whatsoever goes upon its paws among all the beasts that go on all fours, they are unclean to you. Whoso touches their carcasses shall be unclean until the evening. And anything else that goes on the ground, that goes on its paws, these are the soft portions of its foot, ain't got a hoof. They are unclean. You can't eat these things. I know a lot of people, they ain't happy about that, but the Lord makes a separation in the flesh through his ordinances and his statutes that he give you. And these are the outward show, you might say, that yes, you understand these things. 28. He that bears the carcass of them shall wash his clothes and be unclean until the evening. They are unclean to you. And he that touches, bears the carcass, carries it, has to move it out of his way. I recommend getting a stick. Shall wash his clothes. You're going to be unclean. You'll have to wash your garments and wash yourself. That's not only the inside, but the outside. Figuratively. 29. And these are they which are unclean unto you among the swarming things that swarm upon the earth, the weasel and the mouse and the great lizard after its kind. So we're changing subjects, but we're still saying in the matter of these things that are going to be unclean or clean. The fact that you can or can't touch them or can or can't eat them. Well, we're going to get the weasel. The weasel, that is a kullet. The weasel's known for his gliding ability. He's kind of sneaky. And the mouse or the akbar, known for its ability to gnaw or to nibble, attack, always nibbling, trying to tear something up. The great lizard. The word is sab, and it's probably a turtle. It's known for its clinging cover. Any of them after its kind, and they come in many different species or varieties. The great lizard here, the sab 30, and the gecko, and the land crocodile, and the lizard, and the sand lizard, and the chameleon, and the gecko. Of course, we recognize the gecko as a form of lizard. And the word is anaka. It's known for its shrieking or its shrieks of sound. And the sand lizard and the land crocodile, that is a koach. It's known for its great strength. And the lizard is the tetaka. It's known from its habits to hide, its ability to hide, kind of like the rabbit. The sand lizard, that is the chomet. It is these things that are known for creeping. Could be a snail. And the chameleon, as the word is tashamat, it's known also for that panting or hard breathing. 31. These are they which are unclean to you among all that swarm. Whosoever does touch them, when they are dead, shall be unclean until the evening. And these are they which are unclean to you among all that swarm. And as well as many others would fall into this category. But anybody that touches, we're going to find out these things are detestable. Anytime you have to wash, make yourself clean, or become unclean by touching something, it has become detestable. We'll see. There's a greater meaning to it all in the end of it. The Lord made a separation through the flesh with His ordinances, and it's really a simple thing, but that's just a small portion of it, 32. And upon whatsoever any of them, when they are dead, doth fall, it shall be unclean, whether it be any vessel of wood, or raiment, or skin, or sack, whatsoever vessel it be, wherewith any work is done. It must be put into water, and it shall be unclean until the evening, then shall it be clean. And upon whatsoever any of them that they are dead, any of these things that are unclean, that are named, that are unclean, known to be unclean, if any of them touch, fall upon, after it's dead, or even if it's living, I would think would be a good practice, it shall be unclean. It's going to be dirty. Any vessel of wood, whatever it's made of, a raiment, a clothes, a skin, something that they used back then to use for coverings, a sack, anything you put in, vessels of various natures, anything that you use, work's done with it, must be put into water. It must be washed, cleaned, and it shall be unclean, even after you wash it until the sun goes down, till that understanding is passed from it. Now these things have to be washed to be made clean. 33, and every vessel, and every earthen vessel whereunto any of them fall, whatsoever is in it shall be unclean, and it you shall break. Every earthen vessel. So anything that's made of earth, these vessels were used back then, clay pots and stuff like that. If it's found in that, you got to, it's going to be unclean. It's polluted, and we don't want to take no chances of it have anything that's soaked into it, so we break it. It's destroyed. 34. All food therein which may be eaten, that on which water comes, shall be unclean, and all the drink in every such vessel that may be drunk shall be unclean. So any food that you was going to be able to eat that was in that which moistures come in contact with shall be unclean. It's going to be detestable. You got to throw that out. Any drink, any moist water that was in it, anything like this is unclean. You find a bug in it, throw it out. 35, and everything whereupon any part of their carcass falls shall be unclean, whether oven or range for pots. It shall be broken in pieces. They are unclean, and shall be unclean unto you. And everything whereupon any parts of their carcasses fall, anything, it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's an oven or a range for pots, this thing where you cook on, doesn't matter. It shall be broken in pieces. Of course, today it would be very hard to break some things we have today into pieces, but back then, things of more earthen nature were used, and these things had to be destroyed because they had become detestable and unclean. Today we have more cleaner. The Hashem has greatly blessed us, and we move forward a long ways, and we have the ability to wash these things that we have now and to make them clean, but they must be washed. And these are in the Jewish aspects. These are the laws of kosher, and to make things kosher, we would, if possible, clean that with some boiling water, or to make it clean. 36. Nevertheless, a fountain or a cistern wherein is gathering of water shall be clean, but he who touches their carcasses shall be unclean. Nevertheless, a fountain or a cistern wherein is gathering of water. And, we get these sometimes where a stream will gather up a little pool of water, and their carcass you might find in it. You'll need to get that out of there. But you're going to be unclean till evening. It's no big deal. You're going to have to do these things, though. But it's better to save that water hole. It says the water's still clean, but I would suggest drinking upstream. 37. And if aught of their carcass fall upon any sowing seed, which is to be sown, it's clean. But if the carcass, you find a bug in their seeds, we'll find out these things you're going to plant. It's okay. That's still clean. 38. But if water be put upon the seed, and aught of their carcass fall thereon, it is unclean unto you. But now, if they would have been wet, because we don't know, could have been some moisture come out of the critter, and that would be unclean. So if there's any moisture present, this portion has to be removed, and it is unclean. And you would be unclean too, as you have touched it, and these things are detestable. 39. And if any beast of which you may eat die, he that touches the carcass thereof shall be unclean until the evening. And any of the beast, even of these that you may eat, these are the clean beasts, it die, you find it dead, you're going to have to get rid of that. We'll find out. We're changing subjects here. But these things that are dead that you can eat, what we're talking about, not those things you couldn't touch, but these things now that you could to eat. If you touch the carcass, you find it dead, you shall be unclean till the evening. Well, it's going to be necessary to wash, as we say, we take a bath, clean up, and you're going to be, as a representation of your uncleanliness, be unclean till evening. It's the law. 40. And he that eats of the carcass of it shall wash his clothes, and be unclean until the evening. He also that bears the carcass of it shall wash his clothes, and be unclean until the evening. Now he that eats of the carcass of it shall wash his clothes. God forbid you ate of the carcass of it, but you never know, things happen. But you'll be unclean until evening if you find out. He also that bears the carcass, or brought the carcass, shall wash his clothes. He's going to make himself clean as well. And he remain in that state of uncleanliness until the evening. Of course, that's when the representation, or of course, you have to go to sleep in bed, and we'll find out it would be necessary for you to enter back into the camp at that time. This is why we get this, and at least there's a period of uncleanliness, and then that's what it is the representation of. 41. And every swarming thing that swarms upon the earth is a detestable thing, it shall not be eaten. So all these other things that come into multitudes, or swarm, like the akbar, the mouse, these things, all these things are detestable. They're a thing that can make you unclean, and this would cause you to have to wash. Stay away from things that make you unclean, is the overall simple understanding in it. 42. Whatsoever goes upon the belly, whatsoever goes upon all fours, or whatsoever hath many feet, even all swarming things that swarm upon the earth, them you shall not eat, for they are a detestable thing. And all these things that swarm upon the earth, these things that crawl around, or hop, or go about on their feet, these things that are detestable, like the serpent, he goes upon his belly. The worms, they go upon their belly. Anything that goes upon all fours, of course, God separated those with His law, the work of the Lord. That's for what it is. Or whatsoever has many feet, numerous, like your centipedes, your millipedes, even all swarming things that swarm upon the earth, these creatures that creep and crawl, these creepy, crawly things, you might say, these things that move around, them shall you not eat, for they are a detestable thing. They shall be detestable, a defilement, or a filthy thing. 43. You shall not make yourselves detestable with any swarming thing that swarms, neither shall you make yourselves unclean with them, that you should be defiled thereby. You shall not make yourselves. There it is. And so don't make yourselves unclean. Try to stay away from these things. Try to avoid things that cause you to be unclean. The insinuation is that you are clean. You should not defile yourselves. 44. For I am the Lord your God. Sanctify yourselves therefore, and be you holy. For I am holy. Neither shall you defile yourselves with any manner of swarming thing that moves upon the earth. For I am the Lord your God. Hashem is the one who you you follow. He is the one who is your teacher. Sanctify yourselves. Separate yourselves, therefore. Be separated. The Lord says, be holy. Be sanctified. Be set aside. Be dedicated for a purpose. Have some understanding. I am holy. The Lord said, I am holy. Be like me. Be separated. Be distinct. Be determined. Neither shall you defile yourselves with any manner of swarming thing. Don't make yourselves polluted with these things the Lord has separated with the law. The Lord makes separation with his ordinances and his statutes. You go one way or the other. And it's really a simple thing, my friend. When the knife goes through, that's the sword, that's the word of God, that's his law, his ordinances he gives everybody. When it goes through, you will go one way or the other. Try to be as close to the blade as you can be. 25, for I am the Lord that brought you up out of the land of Egypt, to be your God. You shall therefore be holy, for I am holy, for I am the Lord. Hashem is your teacher. He is your master, and he brought you up out of that land of Egypt, that place of graves, that place of pits and snares and traps, to be your God, to be your teacher, to be your Elohim, your strength and your power and your might, and these laws, these ordinances that he gives you that separate you are that which gives you that strength and that power. Therefore be holy, be separate, be dedicated unto these ordinances that the Lord gives you. I am holy. The Lord is separated. He is sanctified. He is dedicated. 46, this is the law of the beast, and of the fowl, and of every living creature that moves in the waters, and of every creature that swarms upon the earth. This is the law. These are the instructions for the beast, and the fowl, these things that fly in the air, all these living creatures that move in the waters, all the life, everything on the ground, all the creeping things, every bug and everything about it. God says this is what you can eat, this is what you should stay away from, these things. We'll find out the Lord has a purpose for everything. He always does. And one thing we find out that his purpose is to separate you, to make you clean. These things, the Lord knows every bit of his creation. And a lot of times, my friends, we are just learning. 47, to make a difference between the unclean and the clean, and between the living thing that may be eaten and the living thing that may not be eaten. And it's to make a difference. And it makes a difference between the clean and the unclean, or the unclean and the clean. Either way, it divides them. It separates them. And the Lord said, these are clean, and the Lord said, these are unclean. It's to divide that from the living, from that which is not living, you might say. Those things you can eat, and these things you cannot eat, or these things you can partake of. You can take that which is clean, you can't partake of that which is not clean. These are filthy, they're detestable. God says, wash yourself. If you come in contact with something that's unclean, you can make yourself clean. If you're unclean, you can become clean. Simply wash yourselves, wait till the evening, and return. As always, we're going to move forward to Leviticus chapter 12. Turn and return.